Hey there, welcome to today's video. I am doing things a little bit differently in today's video. Usually there's a screen share, but today I decided that I want to share with you some of the things that I would do differently if I was starting over in ClickUp again from scratch. Now, as a disclaimer, a lot has changed and I've come a long way over the last 5 years of working inside of ClickUp. Hindsight is a gift, and oftentimes there are always decisions that we make that we think, I definitely do this differently if I had the opportunity to start again. So that's where the inspiration for this video is coming from. I want to share with you just some of the things that I would change and switch up if I was to start from scratch. Just a note, I am a verified ClickUp consultant, so things have dramatically improved since I've started working in the platform 5 years ago. And if you want to learn more about my setup service, stick around to the end of this video and I'll share details of how you can connect with me to get help for your own ClickUp setup. Okay, so on that note, let's just dive in, okay? I've got about 10 things that I want to say I would do differently if I was to start using ClickUp all over again. The first is that I would start with the end in mind. Now, when I say that, what do I mean? I mean that when I first started to use ClickUp, I didn't really have any goals per se. I just needed a tool to house my tasks. And that's usually what a lot of people think when they start to use project management tools, task management tools. They just need somewhere to house and delegate tasks. And so it was a bit all over the place. I didn't really have a solid structure. So when it did come to bringing on team members and even bringing clients into it, I did have to go back to the drawing board to look at my overall structure, how I had set up my workspace, how I had structured my folders, my lists, and where my tasks were housed. And I had to just make sure that all of that was clearly organized to make it much easier for me to work in the platform. And that leads me into my second point, which was to consider my processes. Something that a lot of people like to skip is their process that they are actually wanting to use inside of ClickUp. So I didn't set ClickUp up at first with my process in mind. I think my very first workspace literally had a couple of spaces and lots of random folders everywhere. There was no structure. So now whenever I'm trying to implement something new inside of ClickUp, I always think of the process that I'm actually trying to build out. How can ClickUp support that process? How can it save me time? How can I make this process efficient, not just for myself, but for others who are involved, i.e. team members? I'm glad to say that things are a lot more structured, a lot more organized these days, but it did take a bit of time to just figure out how I wanted to be working inside of the platform itself. And also, I didn't understand the hierarchy fully. So that was definitely a mistake that I failed to educate myself on. Understanding the ClickUp hierarchy just made such a difference in knowing what should be a space, a folder, or a list, and how to organize my tasks and my work inside of the platform. Understanding that made it so much easier for me to connect the dots so that I could build out a much more functional workspace going forward. Things can get pretty disorganized in ClickUp. I wasn't really thinking strategically on how to organize my admin, i.e. documents and templates and things like that in ClickUp. So if you're not already using tags, labels and descriptions, you're going to run into the same mistakes that I ran into as well. And so what I would say, especially for your documents, especially for templates, using labels, using the tags, providing descriptions on what those documents, what those templates are actually for, will make it so much easier for you to understand what is happening inside of your workspace. So having a structured way of just describing what is inside of your workspace is going to help you so much in the long run. So the next thing is to start simple and build from there. Guys, I tried to do way too much at the start of my ClickUp journey, trying to do everything, use every single feature, all the automations I could think of, lots of custom fields, and it quickly turned my workspace into a mess. Now what I do everything is done with intention, and I encourage clients as well to think intentionally about what is going into their workspace and how it needs to fit into their workspace and how it fits into the wider picture of their business. ClickUp can be an asset to your business, but if you don't have an idea of how everything connects, elements that you are using to run your business, how they all can be supported inside of ClickUp, you will definitely become overwhelmed and frustrated because there's a lot to the platform. So start simple and allow yourself time to map out and build your processes, and then you can start to look at things like automating, integrating with other tools, and enhancing your workflows even more. Point number 5, I would do more research. I would be looking at more use cases to see what others were doing in their platform. There's actually nothing wrong with seeing how people are running certain processes inside of their ClickUp, because it gives you so much inspiration, so many ideas of how you could actually bring this into your business. I mean, as an example, that is exactly why you are here on YouTube watching a channel talking all about ClickUp. You are doing research, and that is one thing that I wish I did more of in the very beginning. Granted, there was not as much content out at the time when I started to use the platform. Now there's a whole lot of content out there, and there's still so many ways that you can experiment and see what others are doing. ClickUp is such a customizable platform, so you have so many ideas, and because of that, if you are new to the platform, you're quickly going to get overwhelmed in terms of how you can set things up for your business. So I would definitely say looking for more use cases, doing more research in terms of how you can lay things out and how it can support you would help you to maximize your time when it comes to implementing the platform. Okay, so the next thing is using templates. I would use templates so much more if I was starting afresh inside of ClickUp. Now there are 2 sides to this point. The first is that you can use templates to cut the learning curve inside of ClickUp. So ClickUp has its own template hub with a lot of different example templates that you can plug into your workspace for free without having to do a lot of work or even understand a lot about the platform. Some of these templates are more in depth than others, but they will give you some great ideas on how you can set things up, lay things out, and see your work and your tasks inside of ClickUp. And a shameless plug, I do have my own template bundle if you are looking for a plug and play pack to implement some quick processes into your ClickUp workspace. Click the link in the description and you can get yours today. But the second side of using templates is that you can actually use templates to cut down the amount of time you are spending working and doing admin inside of your business. And by that, I mean you can have templates set up for projects, for various tasks that you have where you are repeating work. And so if you are constantly having to do the same sort of tasks over and over, start creating your task templates, list templates, folder templates, and then you can use those all the time. It will stop you from having to reinvent the wheel over and over again, and it will also make it so much easier for your team when they are working with you inside of your workspace. Keeps everything consistent and aligned moving forwards. The next area is that I would be so much more intentional with my custom fields. This is something I see all of the time. I see it with clients, I see it with individuals who are using ClickUp, and they are literally just drowning in custom fields. And I made the same mistake of not necessarily being intentional about the fields that were being set up in the workspace. So what would happen is that I would create a folder or a list, and then I would start plugging in my custom fields. But I would then start duplicating my custom fields across my workspace. So for example, popular fields that I might use would be like email or contact name or access link to share URLs. And I would just be using or creating new custom fields all of the time instead of going into the custom fields library and actually just adding that custom field into that particular space. Now I've streamlined my custom fields. They're a lot more organized and streamlined, and I also help my clients to do the same in their workspace. The next area is that I would be using the dashboards a lot more. I didn't use ClickUp dashboards probably for the first year of using the platform. Reason being, I didn't really understand how they worked, how they could support me. Now they're a part of everyday life, and they are something that I also help clients to implement into their business as well. The dashboards are so useful for you to capture high level reporting, quick views over your projects, your tasks, where your team are in their progress on working on projects, and even just managing your workload day to day. There is so many use cases for the dashboards. Drop a comment if you would like me to do a video on some of these different use cases, and I would definitely be happy to do that for you guys. But for me, I know I was late to the game in using dashboards, and if I were to start again in ClickUp, dashboards are a must, 100%. The next area that I would use more inside of ClickUp is optimizing the everything view. If you haven't started to look at the everything view, I recommend that you run there right now. Check out the everything view, because literally everything in your workspace, your tasks, your team tasks, even tasks that are created that are not assigned, sits in that view, and it really is what it says, everything view. At this level, you can then start to optimize your views over the entire workspace. So you can pull in views for all of the work that is assigned throughout different spaces, folders and lists. You can create workload views against your entire workspace for your team. You can do so much at this level, and I find it so useful to have just that quick oversight on all of the tasks that I have assigned to myself, group them by the due date, and I can add in various custom fields to almost create another quick dashboard view. So for anyone who's wondering how on earth can I get a holistic view on all of the work inside of ClickUp, the everything view is the view for you to use. The next and final point 10, thank you for sticking around this far into the video, is I would ask for help. I honestly would ask for help. Setting up new platforms, learning new platforms always comes with a learning curve, and I especially can see that inside of ClickUp. Knowing how much information is in there, all of the different features and the nuances on understanding what can work in the platform, how to filter the views, how to optimize your views, all of those different elements. I would have greatly benefited from having hands-on help, support and guidance beyond YouTube University, let me just add. So as much as we love it on YouTube, sometimes you really just need someone who you can speak to, who can take a look at your workspace and see what is really going on under the hood, so to speak. Which leads me to sharing with you just a little bit more about my setup service, which is a done for you ClickUp setup service that I provide for agencies and consultants teams to help them really optimize the platform. If you have been looking for help and you've been working to try and figure out how to get your ClickUp really in check, this might be exactly what you're looking for. There's a link in the description where you can book a call with me and we can see what your needs are, where you're at in your ClickUp journey, and how I can continue to support you going forward. I would love to speak to you, and if that is what you need, definitely book a call below. So thank you so much for sticking around for this video. Like I said, it was a little bit different, but I really thought I'd love to share this with you guys because, like I said at the start of the video, hindsight is definitely a gift, and if you can avoid any of these mistakes as you start building out your ClickUp workspace, I will feel like my job here is done. So on that note, if you did enjoy this video, definitely hit like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.